Over the past 25 years of doing this hobby, I've worked out that I've owned over 100 different 00 gauge locomotive models. That collection has halved in recent years. I think it totals just over 50 now, because I recently made the conversion from analog to DCC about 3 years ago. And I did that because I wanted to improve the running experience, and I'm glad I did. It's been costly, but it's also opened up lots of new avenues to get higher spec models, start converting a few of them to sound, and that also improves the realism and the experience. What I'm going to do today for this video is I'm going to talk you through my top 10 favourite models of all time in my collection. The reasons for why each of these models are in my top 10 will vary. Some models, there's actually a story as to how I ended up acquiring them. Others have a more personal significance to me as a steam enthusiast or model railway collector. And some models just look phenomenal and run perfectly. And ultimately, that's what you want from a model. You want it to have that nostalgia, and you want it to just come out the box and go and do everything you want it to do. So yeah, I'm really excited to bring you this video today. I hope you are too. The models that I can run on the layout, I will run them with a set of rolling stock so you can see them in action. Let's get into it. And we're starting with possibly the most nostalgic train in my collection, and that is my very first Flying Scotsman model. This version was built in 1999 and it is the L&ER apple green, and it was preserved like this at the time, but I remember getting it as a 6-year-old and taking out the packaging and instantly breaking it with excitement. So yeah, had no concept of how delicate these things were. I just wanted to play with it, and that's why this model is so important and nostalgic for me. And I think it's important to have models like this in your collection because it's a reminder of where you started. And I know that everybody watching this video will have that one model in their collection that they have this feeling for. And those are arguably the most important because they just have so much significance to you personally with this hobby. And yeah, it hasn't run for a very long time, but it's still here. And it's great to look at it again, to be fair. So yeah, my very first Flying Scotsman. The next model is Hornby's Locomotion number 1. And the reason why this model is here is because normally I'd never actually purchase an Era 1 model, but I actually won this in a competition. So I entered Hornby's 12 Days of Christmas Challenge back in 2024. I entered 6 out of the 12 days, including this one. And when I saw my name next to day 12, I couldn't quite believe it because I've never actually won anything this expensive before. So I was really happy to have such an unusual but exquisitely designed model in the collection. The fact that all of this works the way the real thing works in proper is just unbelievable. So yeah, great work from Hornby on this. And the fact that there's a replica of this exact model in real life in preservation means it actually even suits what I model. So I'm very, very happy to have this. It's currently non-operational because I need a 6-pin decoder. So if anyone could recommend one, because I have purchased one before but it didn't fit, then that would be awesome. Please do comment below. But yeah, great model to have in the collection. The next model is the 94XX class GWR pannier tank. And really the only reason why I like running this model is because it looks stunning. In that Great Western green, loads of other details like the firebox flicker, everything is pretty much separately fitted. You've got the copper chimney as well, which I think is unique to what Dapple and Hornby do with their Great Western models. I believe they just paint theirs. It doesn't quite have the same effect. But yeah, with that copper chimney that Bachmann do, and you can see the firebox flicker illuminating the cab as well. It just looks so pretty. It's so good to run as well. It stops on a couple of points here or there because
listen, let's face it, it's made by Bachmann. It's always going to happen. But yeah, it really looks good running around the layout with different pieces of rolling stock. And that's why I like it. So it's as simple as that. But yeah, that's the Great Western Pannier. Moving on to the next one. The next model is my Black 5 that is LMS lined, and it is made by Hornby. This one is the one in my home fleet, and the reason why this locomotive is here is because it runs perfectly. It is Mr. Reliable, and it's so coincidental that it's a Black 5 as well, because they were renowned for being the best do-it-all engine. And this model is exactly that. I've never had any issues with slipping, with pulling more than 5 or 6 coaches. It can run on the inside line, the outside line, and my inside line is second radius as well. So for 460s to be able to navigate through that is good. And this year's track plan is a lot more complex and it still hasn't had a problem. So it's just nice to have a model that you can take straight out the box and run it immediately. And ultimately, those models are priceless for me. Model number 6 is this BR Black 8F by Hornby. I think this is a 2002 model. And yeah, I mean, look, part of the reason why this is here is because similarly to the Black 5, it is incredibly reliable. And how ironic that this locomotive, its preservation name or privately owned name is Old Reliable. It certainly is that in model form. But that kind of links a little bit as to why the main reason it is in my top 10, and that is because when I first acquired this model, I bought it from eBay and I had no idea at the time that it was a preserved loco. And it was only when I was doing a bit of research, when I was getting a bit older and realised that I actually specifically want to model Heritage Railway, that I found this locomotive online. I found a few pictures of it and I thought, oh, I think I've got that model. And I had a look and there it was. So that kind of triggered something in me to go, yeah, do you know what? I think this is where I need to go. This is what I'd like to try and model from now on. So yeah, it has a bit of significance for me in terms of the journey that I've now taken, especially in the last 10 years or so. And I'm so pleased that it's still a part of this journey and still running as well as it was when I first got it. So yeah, very important loco for me in my collection, and that is why it's here. All right, so here are the first 5 models that I've just taken you through. And yeah, it's quite unusual to see locomotion in amongst all of the others. But yeah, some interesting stories about how I've acquired some of these and why they're here. But now let's get into the top 5. So, model number 5 is the collaboration between the Model Centre and Bachmann for the Class A1 new build of Tornado. Now, this particular example was when Tornado first came out in the Works Grey, and as you can see, my certificate says mine was number 35 of 101. So this is quite a rare model. I'm not quite sure if they actually go for anything nowadays, but at the same time, this was a very expensive model. I remember all of my birthday and Christmas money went on this model when it came out in 2008. And as you can see, the headboard looks great. It still runs really well. I have had some issues with it. I've had to add extra weight because it's quite an old Bachmann design where it only picks up on the front few wheels. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying to run from time to time, especially on complex layouts where there's a lot of points for it to navigate over. However, the story when I acquired this, I was just so gassed to have this model because it just had a lot of value, and I hadn't experienced any model that was worth the amount that I paid for this. I think it was £250 at the time, and it was just such a valuable model for me that I really cherished. And yeah, it's had some issues along the way, but it still runs really nicely, and it does come out from time to time. Obviously it's not my most reliable model, but as you can see, it works really, really nicely on the layout. So, and it's beautiful in terms of the color as well, very unique to anything else that I have in my collection. So yeah, that's why it's here in my top 5. Model number 4 is my Eric Tracy, and this model, it was a collaboration between Hornby, Rails of Sheffield and Locomotion Models. And this was the first model in my collection that had sound. And I was always a bit skeptical of getting a sound model because I just thought it was a level that I never thought I would bother investing in and enjoy. I just quite liked running the trains, but I wasn't sure whether sound would actually ruin the experience and whether I would want to convert all of my trains to sound if I had one of them. But I have to say, since owning this model, it has opened up so many new avenues to kind of progress this hobby. And although converting to sound is expensive, the fact that Hornby do the HM7000 is a huge win because it is a little cheaper to kind of move across some of the models to sound. So yeah, really enjoy this Eric Tracy model. And of course, Eric Tracy is one of my favourite preservation locomotives in real life. So it's brilliant to finally have my favourite Black 5 in the collection. So it is in the top 4. The next model is termed as my Lucky Loco. It is the Hornby Duplo Sir Nigel Gresley 10th anniversary edition of the Great Gathering. So the reason why this is called my Lucky Loco is because I never thought I would get one. And there's a story as to how this one came about in my collection. So I've been after one of these models for years at this point. I wanted one of the 2013 releases, didn't get one. They all sold out pretty much immediately. Then Hornby announced they were doing this version, the 10th anniversary version in 2023. And again, I went to try and get one, all sold out. Emailed loads of model shops. They said they hadn't got any in stock, but they'd let us know if one came up. Anyway, we had an email to say that there was one in stock at this particular model shop. So my mum phoned, I was at work, and she bought it immediately over the phone. And the person on the other end said they've literally only just received it that morning and we bought it. So I was so thankful because I actually opened it on Christmas Day as an additional present and I had no idea that my mum had this email. So I was absolutely gassed, as you can imagine. And yeah, it's been one of my favourites in the collection ever since, as well as it being one of my favourite locos too. Okay, moving on to model number 2 then. It is my Hornby 9F Black Prince version. And listen, Black Prince is one of my favourite locos in real life. And of course, when you buy a model, that always helps when that is a factor. But I was sceptical when I bought this model because I'd watched Sam's Trains review on the new tooled Evening Star 9F and I wasn't best impressed. It didn't have the best motor, it didn't have the best torque, and as a result, it struggled to negotiate round second radius curves, up small inclines, and it didn't have the capability to pull the loads that you'd expect a model of a 9F to be able to handle. So when I bought this for a lot of money at the time, because I bought it when it first came out, I wasn't sure, but I'm so glad I invested in one of these because it's a supermodel. And I don't know whether Hornby changed anything based on the backlash they had from that Evening Star, but for me, this has been one of the most reliable, enjoyable models to run. And it was the second sound locomotive that I ended up converting because I wanted a sound version of a 9F. And with the small wheelbase as well, chuffs increase, which is cool. Obviously, the 9F whistle is iconic, and the actual locomotive itself in preservation pulled lots of different loads. Obviously, it's not running at the moment, which is disappointing. So even more reason that I want to kind of enjoy it that little bit more in model form. So yeah, it's been basically in my home fleet really since the start of this year's layout. And that's because I just find it so hard not to run it. It can negotiate second radius curves without a problem. It can go through complex sets of points and it can just do everything. And it even broke my record of the most scale tons on a layout that I've ever done. So yeah, what a brilliant loco, and it looks great with that Pines Express headboard as well. But by far my favourite locomotive to run in my collection is the Hornby Dublo Flying Scotsman Centenary Celebration version, and the model I went for was its preserved condition, the BR lined green with the side plates. I love this model. Obviously, affectionately, you know, I've got connections with this and I wanted my own preserved example of what it looks like currently. The fact you get a little plaque with it is pretty cool. I love the box design, but ultimately the model is exquisite and it just looks superb. I love running it. I've recently converted it to sound because I wanted my own version, and yeah, it's just fantastic. I love it. So for the last part of this video, we're going to watch this wonderful locomotive run round the track with some rolling stock, and we're going to hear the sound. Okay, guys, here we are back in the yard with all of the locomotives sat here together. I just want to say thank you very much for watching the video. Hopefully you've enjoyed having a look at some of these models in a bit more detail and also understanding why I have them and why they are significant to me. Let me know in the comments which locomotives you have in your collection that you love and why. I'd be really interested to hear. But for now, thank you very much, and I will see you again soon.